Привет всем, с вами я, Janey, и это How Janey Learned Russian. We are in day 3 of Accusative Case, and today we are going to break down the endings. Well, guess what? The endings in this case are going to be super easy because we only have feminine singular. That's it. So we'll do feminine singular and adjectives, feminine singular nouns, and that's it. And everything else is going to look like nominative. So this is going to go pretty fast. Yesterday we talked about the direct object. Hopefully all of you English speakers learned a thing or two about your own grammar and your language, that we rely heavily on word order to convey what is the direct object in a sentence. It didn't always used to be that way. Like 1,000 years ago, that wasn't necessarily the case because we had cases in English, but we don't have them anymore. So yeah, let's go ahead and break down. We're going to be working in the workbook today and doing those beautiful feminine endings. They're super easy to remember. Okay, so just a quick reminder, this is all from my textbook. You know the drill. The link is down in the description. Please buy it on the website, not the app, because the app will charge you an extra $20. And why spend money? Why, just waste money. So anyway, also group classes are available. They are super fun. We have a fun little community. And even if you can't make the various class times, you can watch the videos post facto. So you can go on and see what we talked about and kind of see some of the words that we talked about and just like a quick overview of the class. That's all available over on Patreon. Link is in the description, just as I tell you every single day. Okay, хорошо. So today we're doing страница 43, and we will switch over to that in just a moment. But of course, as you know, we always start our class with a review of the previous day's lesson because we are aging and our brains don't retain information the way they used to. So let's go ahead and review what we talked about yesterday. So tell me, I'm going to read you some sentences in English, and you're going to tell me which of these even have a direct object. It's very possible there's no direct object in these. And if there's no direct object, we don't necessarily need accusative case unless, of course, it's paired with a v or a na, meaning going to. Okay, хорошо. This is my friend. This is my friend. Is there a direct object? Нет. Нету. Okay, because you're not doing anything to your friend. You're not doing anything to the this. Okay, you are just saying this equals that. Okay, next one. We have a big house. Okay, our English brain might think, well, what are you doing to the big house? You're having it. But those of you who have been doing my classes, you know that to have in Russian, there's no verb. It's actually something is near you. And that's why the big house is nominative case. There's no direct object in this sentence. Next one. I love Russian food. I love Russian food, which is true. No, but I'm not going to say it because I'll give away the answer. So, what are you doing to the Russian food? You are loving it. So, therefore, it would get feminine accusative case. Я люблю русскую еду. Я люблю русскую кухню. If you want to be fancy and say cuisine. What book are you reading? What book are you reading? So our English brain thinks, what? That's not an adjective. That's not a noun. We don't need to put that into a case. But our Russian brain knows that we need the word kakaya, or we're going to put it into a case, and we are doing something to the book. We're doing something to the kakaya, and we're doing something to the kniga. Therefore, they get accusative case. So, какую книгу читаешь? Какую книгу читаешь? Вот. Do you live in a house or apartment? Okay. Are you doing anything to the house or apartment? Are they receiving a verb of some sort? Are they being loved, bought, seen? Because we put a in here, and that trumps the verb, which then makes it need prepositional case. So a house or apartment is going to get prepositional case, okay? And live is not a verb that gets a direct object necessarily. So, okay, хорошо. When did you buy your house? When did you buy your house? Where is the direct object in this sentence? What did you buy? What did you buy? Your house. Your house. Okay, so your house is our direct object. Когда вы купили ваш дом, например. Okay, do you like this song? Oh, this one's so brutal. It's so cruel. Oh, I'm so cruel. Let's see if anybody remembers nominative case. Нравится, нравится мне, тебе нравится эта песня. So even though we look at this and we think this song should get accusative case because you're liking it, we know that this is one of those things. It's an anti-Englishism. We need to just learn to say it in the Russian way, which is the verb to be pleasing to. And we'll have a whole chapter on this later on in this unit. So this song is in nominative case. There's no direct object in this, interestingly. Okay, that one probably hurt your brain. Don't beat yourself up. That one's a very fancy, tricky grammar. So, okay. Интересный кусочек информации. Помните, наша тема, в этом падеже наша тема это что надо увидеть в Москве или куда надо пойти в Москве. Окей, вот моя рекомендация. Обязательно надо пойти в Третьяковскую галерею, да? Особенно если вы любите русскую культуру, русское искусство, обязательно надо пойти в Третьяковскую галерею. Вот, там есть очень красивые картины, очень известные художники. Например, вот, кстати, это я люблю эти картины. Например, это художник Михаил Нестеров. Вот, видите, так красиво. Это такой... I love when it's just like a stereotypical, like, Russian scene, you know? Like, oh, I love it. It just makes my heart melt. Yeah, Ilya Repin. A lot of times when you're seeing paintings of historical events in Russian culture or famous people in Russian culture, that was painted by Repin. So this is when Ivan Terabos killed his own son. And then that's one of the most famous paintings of Lev Tolstoy. Again, look how Russian this scene is. Kresny Khod в Kurской области. This is more Repin. Again, he's like just very... So he's more obviously realist painting. But he just portrays these moments in time so beautifully. Oh, and then I love just some of these styles. Rybushkin, this is one of my favorites. It's called Khorovod or something like that. But just I love anything that's like very Russian, stereotypical Russian looking. Oh, Rerich, I love Rerich, Nikolai Rerich. Кстати, there's an entire museum in New York. I haven't checked it out yet, but it's on my agenda. В Нью-Йорк-Сити есть музей Рериха. So Nikolai Rerich, I love him. He did a lot of stuff in like Asia and whatever, but he has some beautiful like Russian stuff as well. Вот. And then if you love Russian fairy tales, you gotta check out Воснецовен Врубль. And again, I'm gonna show you, look right here. You don't even have to go to Moscow to go to the Третьяковская галерея. Можно смотреть в интернете, смотрите, okay? So you can come up here. If you must, you can switch to English. I discourage it, okay? But we can come to, oh, look at this. So you can come to the виртуальная галерея, где эта коллекция, вот это. А потом, сейчас, вот, можно искать, или можно даже перевод, например. Или вот, смотрите, какой жанр. Например, пейзаж, so like landscape, исторический жанр, that's going to be fun because that's going to be like moments in history, maybe you know. Мне очень нравится, например, начало 20 века, давайте, вторая половина 20 века, мне нравится первая половина, давайте посмотрим, что есть в галерее, вот здесь. О, видите? Так. So like a lot of this like stuff for the turn of the century, super interesting. Вот, супер. Это мне очень нравится. Look, see, you could just get these like beautiful scenery of like Russian life, these snippets of time. And then once we get into like Malevich, this is going to be super cool, like very Soviet type stuff. Anyway, I could spend hours and hours here, just even on the online one. But that was one of my most favorite places in Moscow. It was like my happy place, and I would go and just, you know, walk around, contemplate the meaning of life, etc. So, хорошо. Вот это наш интересный кусочек информации. Теперь Давайте поработаем в нашем учебнике. Вот, страница 43. Страница 43. Okay, хорошо. So now we're going to actually practice we really only have to put feminine things into the case. Everything else, we just keep it the way it is. Because remember, I told you we are not going to worry about, why is that lighting horrible? It's so weird. Anyway, so we're really not going to stress too much about, we're not going to do anything with genitive. If it's animate, don't you worry, we'll get to that later when we get into our genitive case. Okay, so here we go. You look at the thing that's in parentheses and you put it into the case. And guess what? Because I love you, I have these really useful little charts for you right here. So don't stress, okay? Я слушаю classical music. Okay, я слушаю classical music. You're doing something to it, you're listening to it. So let's go ahead and put классическая музыка into accusative case. So вот так. Классическую музыку. Классическую музыку. Я слушаю классическую музыку. Вот так. Ты идешь на уроки. Okay, so we learned at the beginning of this chapter, when you're going to somewhere with v or na, it gets accusative case. But guess what? Уроки. Is that a feminine singular? Nope. So it doesn't change. Ты идешь на уроки. Все. Doesn't change. If it's not a feminine singular, we don't change it. Okay. This next one is tricky. Мы видели plus Pasha, and then we're going to say on Friday. Okay. So, guys, we need to talk. We need to talk about something. Even though Pasha is a masculine, Pasha is short for Pavel. As far as his name is concerned, he's a feminine. Okay, so when it comes to putting his name into cases, they don't care. They're like, your name ends in an a, I don't care. We're going to treat you like a feminine. Now, any adjective describing Pasha would still behave like a masculine, but his name, Pasha, Misha, Papa, Dядя, Dedushka, Vasya, Kostya, like any Russian man name, Vova, Dima, they're all going to behave like a feminine. Can you believe it? Okay. So, мы видели Pashu. And then remember, we learned at the beginning of the chapter when we say on days of the week, even though in English, our English brain thinks that needs prepositional case, it actually needs accusative case, okay? And пятница is a feminine singular. So we're going to actually see the u ending on the end of that. В пятницу. Вот так. В пятницу. Мы видели Пашу в пятницу. Вот. Okay. Какая еда вы любите? Are you doing something to the food? Oh yeah, you're loving it. You are loving that food. And what kind of food do you love? Okay, so here we go. We go, какую еду вы любите? Какую еду вы любите? Please remember that in handwriting, this horrible thing that is very inconvenient to write is written like the. Okay? Мы не понимаем. Okay, and then in parentheses we have this strange culture. Это странная культура. Is it feminine singular? Yep, it is. So let's practice putting это and странная and культура all into accusative case. Look, это, of course, it's going to get cases. So it's going to go to эту. And then странная goes to ую on the end. Our adjectives get a ую. Странную. And then культура goes to культуру. Вот, культуру. Следующее. Мы идем на. We are going to Red Square. We're going on to Red Square. So, мы идем, and Красная площадь is a feminine. Okay, let's just take a moment here. It ends in a мягкий знак, but guess what? It does not change. Feminines ending in мягкий знак, and masculines too. ending in a мягкий знак don't change in accusative case, but this adjective is going to change. Okay, so мы идем на красную площадь. Sorry, that's площадь. Вот так. На Красную площадь. Okay, next one. What kind of clothing do you need to take to Alaska? Right? So what kind of clothing? So clothing is the thing being verbed, and it's a feminine singular, and so sure enough, какая also needs to change as well. So we're going to go какую одежду надо взять на Аляску. And I already put на Аляску into accusative case for you. Вот, next one. Где можно купить, and then we have delicious wine, вкусное вино. Well, is вкусное вино feminine? No, so doesn't change. Где можно купить вкусное вино? Все, there you go. Okay, next one. Мы хотим увидеть... Okay, guys, the words все, все, they get cases too. So вся Россия means all of Russia, all of Russia. So вся is going to get, let's look at our chart. It's going to get всю. Okay, so let's put, we're going to put this phrase, all of Russia, into accusative case. Мы хотим увидеть всю Россию. Всю Россию. О, вот, не видно. Да? Мы хотим увидеть всю Россию. I think that's probably the dream of all of us. All of us people who are obsessed with Russian language. So that's, I think, all of our dreams. Probably the Trans-Siberian Railroad. Камчатка. Mine is Кижи in the north. Я очень хочу поехать на Кижи. Это на острове. На севере. И, по-моему, туда можно попасть только летом, по-моему. Но я точно не знаю. Okay, and then lastly, do you know Russian language well? Вы хорошо знаете? And then is русский язык feminine singular? Нет. So, doesn't change. Вы хорошо знаете русский язык? There you go. Yeah, so isn't that so fun? It's like if all we care about, the only thing we care about in accusative case is it feminine singular? If it's not, well, I don't want. It's either animate, and I'm not going to deal with it right now, or it's nominative, and I got this because I know nominative case, right? So that's what makes accusative case super kind of fun because, like, again, is it feminine singular? Is it feminine singular? If it's not feminine singular, I don't care. I don't freaking care right now. Now, once we get into animate, then there's a little bit more to keep track of. But until then, we're going to just enjoy that all we care about is feminine singulars. Okay, so now we're going to do some translation work, keeping in mind, that's one of these phrases is from one of the songs. So if you know it off the top of your head, молодец, but I'll be doing it for you because there's a fun line that's very accusative sounding in one of the songs. Anyway, so how would we say I love Russian music? Okay, русская музыка. Я люблю русскую музыку. Я люблю русскую музыку. Вот. Lots of ooh. Make that little pouty face. Okay? What book are you reading? So, какая книга? You're doing something to it, you're reading it. Какую книгу ты читаешь? Какую книгу читаешь? Вот. We are going to red square. So even though red square is not a direct object, it's getting a to, which also needs accusative case. Okay, so мы идем на Красную площадь. And Красная площадь, a площадь is one of those things that gets on. And in English, we actually say we say on the square a lot of times too. Like if it was a gathering of people or, it's kind of the town center or something, a lot of times we call that a na, or like a on in English too. What are you doing on Saturday? Okay, so что ты делаешь? We remember our days of the week get accusative case. And суббота ends in an a, therefore it's going to go to в субботу. Что ты делаешь в субботу? Okay. Then one of the songs, когда мы были на войне, he keeps saying "Я только трубочку курил," right? So трубочку курил. So see if you can find that moment in one of the songs in the textbook, in the songs that are in the back of the textbook. Lastly, when we look at this sentence in English, we don't think that anything would need nominative case here. But when we use our anti-English brain, we know, you call your sister. So, как зовут, how do they call твоя сестра? They're doing something to your sister. They're calling her. That's good. Thank goodness. That's all they're doing, right? So, как зовут твою сестру? Как зовут твою сестру? Вот это все на сегодня. So good job. How did you do on that? Do you feel comfortable with those feminine singular endings? They're pretty straightforward, right? So хорошо. So now what we're doing for the rest of the chapter, we're really kind of working through в and на, and then we're gonna practice going between любить and нравится, and then we're gonna practice some of those things that you just memorized. That's how you say it, even though our English brain thinks it should be otherwise. So there's a few of those moments in accusative case. So, хорошо, это все на сегодня. Увидимся на следующем уроке. Пока-пока.